Good morning, everyone. So I've been thinking since yesterday. Yesterday, Justin Trudeau came out and said this. He said, if countries around the world, including China, realize that by arbitrarily arresting random Canadians, they can get what they want out of Canada politically, well, that makes an awful lot more Canadians vulnerable to that kind of pressure. And I said, there wasn't another play. There wasn't another thing to say to that. The only thing he could say was, no, we're not going to do that. Okay, here's my theory. Here's what I think happened. Justin Trudeau needed a win. He needed a win. He couldn't, in order to have a win, you need an adversary, an enemy, somebody to say no to and win, right? And you can't say no unless you can do something about the no, right? Like you have to act on the no, right? And so you can't beat China, right? Because you don't want to embarrass the Chinese overlords. You can't beat Trump because Trump will just hit back twice as hard and he'll punch you right in the economy, right? A little kidney punch in the economy. And so who do you fight? Here's my theory, and this is why. Look, here's Katie Telford. If Jodi's nervous, we would, of course, line up all kinds of people to write up op-eds saying that what she's doing is proper. Is it far-fetched to think that we would get 19 highly placed Canadians who want to give Justin Trudeau a win? There's no other play. There is no other play. No serious person is going to give Meng Wanzhou over to China in the hopes that they release the two Michaels. That would be high-level diplomatic conversations, and I'm pretty sure China's not taking Minister Freeland's calls, right? I just don't think that they are. Because remember last year, she's like, remember, call me. Hello, China. We'd love to hear from you. So that's what I think this is. Give him an adversary, give it a couple of days to bubble, and get the public saying, oh, I don't like Trudeau, but what he's doing there, he's right. The only play was to do that. It was a foolish letter. It was stupidity. It was absolutely stupid, right? Don't worry about it. If Jodi's nervous, well, of course, line up all kinds of people to write whatever you want. Say what she's doing is proper. No problem. Set up that adversary and knock him down. Boy, that's what I think happened. Okay, Ottawa outsources student grant program to a Toronto charity that works with Justin Trudeau's wife. There is more to this. There is more to this story, I am absolutely sure. Okay, we'll start here and then I'll show you the more to the story, because the more to the story happened last year, but this is better. Okay, the federal government is outsourcing the administration of its COVID-19 grant program for student volunteers to a Toronto-based global charity that works with the Prime Minister's wife and will pay the organization based on how many placements it fills before the end of October, a Liberal cabinet minister said Thursday. So if they get more placements, they presumably get more money, right? So it's incentivizing them to get more placements, okay? Bardish Shagar, the Liberal Minister for Diversity, Inclusion and Youth, told the Star the government will monitor the program, estimated to cost more than $900 million, run by We Charity to make sure that it does not allow free student labor to replace paid work at not-for-profits over the next 4 months. Chagger did not say how much We Charity will get from the government to administer this program, but that the payment will depend on how many volunteers use the grants. Okay, so this is We Charity, $900 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, okay? And here is Narcity reporting last year. And Narcity is a far-left news agency, and Canadaland, which is referenced in the article, interviewed somebody from We Charity and broke this story. Okay, so I want everybody to understand that there's a slant on this story, and it doesn't seem to matter. It's still valid, I suppose, but there is a slant, so just be aware of it. Okay, so Canada charity Me to We just got exposed for having ties to child labor, and Canadians are shell-shocked. Canadaland likes to overstate things a little bit. Okay, Me to We has become one of the most well-known Canadian charity works as a result of the We Charity. From their humble beginnings in 2008 to hosting celebrities such as Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato in the last few We Day celebrations at the Scotiabank Centre, the charity organization has come a long way. Unfortunately, a new Canadaland investigation has made accusations with proof that We isn't the clean-cut charitable organization that they claim to be. Okay, here we go. So, for some reason, hold on. My highlighting got all scrambled. Sorry, I had to figure out what was going on. Okay, if you know the organization's backstory, you'll know that one of the primary reasons the Kielburger brothers created We was to combat child labor used by major companies looking to cut costs. Over the past 10 years, We has partnered with massive brands, created a network of schools in Canada, and have clothing, bracelets, and chocolate for sale, with all proceeds going towards their charitable efforts. The money goes towards We Villages that We has helped foster, where residents are able to get a fair wage and help create the products and designs that the We charity then sells. Scroll down. From the outside looking in, Canada Land claimed... Hold on, sorry. Okay, I refreshed the page and it's fine now. From the outside looking in, it seems that We has a morally good organization just looking to make a change, but Canada Land claims otherwise after they released an investigation claiming that We lost itself as it pursued lucrative contracts with corporate partner after corporate partner, falling short on upholding their foundational values. Those brands Canada Land claimed that We had been linked to include Hershey, Dow, Unilever, and Kellogg's, companies that have been verified by Amnesty International as using child labor. While We claims they are not partnered with Kellogg's or Hershey, it was verified through We's partner page that they have in fact worked with both companies. Previous senior members of the charity interviewed by the news outlet claim that these companies purposely partnered with We in efforts to get a halo effect as a result of working with a charitable organization to offset their negative image. Once the news hit Twitter and Reddit, many Canadians were shocked by the news, others not so much. Okay, it happened again. But we're done. But still, here's a couple of Reddit posts. This is a Reddit post from Meep5566. It's pretty sad when something that started out so well ends up all about the money. People get greedy and lose their principles. All about the money? $900 million? That's a lot of money. Here's another one. Those guys lost their way a long time ago. Their fame and egos took over the real cause. Met them a few times a few years back. Very icky. They also preferred to take on low-paying internships and free help, according to friends who worked for them. Free help? Like $900 million of free labor for the government to administer? Huh. It's interesting. I added the years back, by the way. Oh, no, I didn't. It's there. Okay. Anyways, weird. And here's another one. Me to We is a flashy, self-congratulatory, and ultimately serves corporate interests. It has stood in the way of the substantive teaching for justice in Toronto District School Board for too long. Fellow ETT and ETFO members, we can do much better. Did anyone actually think Me to We wasn't precisely the worst type of charity already? Is it very obvious? And so, I mean, it's interesting, right? Like, this is last year, and now we're giving them $900 million and a bump for every intern that they find, not replacing paid work, mind you. Right. Sure. Here's Justin Trudeau. This is dangerous. Anti-hate is code for racist. Anti-hate and anti-racism is code for racist. Okay? It is racist. It is their excuse to implement racist policies. It's the same dog whistle as the equity garbage, right? Equity does not mean equal the same way anti-racism doesn't mean no racism. It means systemic racism. It means we're going to embed systemic racism. And if you have any question about that, I have been speaking with the Upper Grand District School Board about their anti-racism policy for the last week that contravenes the Education Act. By the way, just in case you're paying attention and want to know, it does contravene the Education Act. 169.1 is the statute that it contravenes. However, I think that it's really interesting when people in power use their power to leverage bullshit like this. Anti-racism, anti-hate bullshit. And I'm going to show you right now the hypocrisy of Justin Trudeau. Here he is. Justin Trudeau on Twitter says, quote, "Hate has no place in our country and will not be tolerated. Working together with Canadians, the premiers and I are determined to fight racism and discrimination in all its forms and achieve lasting change. Read our joint statement, First Minister's statement on anti-racism." It's bullshit. I'm not reading it. I'm just pointing out that this is communist doublespeak. Be aware. I'm going to be as blatant as possible because it's past time for winks and nods about this. This is in your face, blatant rewriting the term and shoving it down our throats. Absolutely. I'm livid. I'm so angry. It's unbelievable. So Justin Trudeau says hate has no place in our country and won't be tolerated. This is Justin Trudeau's principal secretary's tweet from June 24th at 7:23 p.m. Today is June 26th. He's deleted this tweet. This is a map of the United States that says, here's a helpful guide from GM Butts. And on Florida, it says old people in the kind of Midwest. That's the Midwest, right? No, Mideast. It says basically Christian Iraq. White Congo for Texas. The only normal state. Scared rednecks. Mormonons, I think. Maybe I don't have that right. Giant casino. I mean, Canada wannabe, potatoes, beer. Everyone is high. Schizophrenia. Is this something that the principal secretary or former principal secretary and now running other things should be tweeting and then mea culpaing? This would destroy somebody on the right's life if they posted this. And this is acceptable, or it was acceptable for butts to post this and then delete it and say, oh, well, yeah, sorry about that. Right? Hate is not tolerated, except in this new post-communist doublespeak world where anti-racism is king. And you can post things like this if other people believe you, and those people are also the prime minister. Right? Just absolutely ridiculous. Double standard, divisive, hateful people. Hateful people. Here's former Prime Minister Stephen Harper to lend some levity to the situation. Here we go.
It's a long time. My experience has been, regardless of what you may think, calling people stupid and bigoted and telling them that you are more enlightened and intelligent is not a very good way to influence people's opinions.
Well said, sir. Well said. It's crazy what is going on. And the fact that people cannot speak up because they fear for their jobs. Why? Because they're racist if they speak up. Right? And checkmate. You lose. Right? You lose in just a little while when the woke mob comes for you anyway. Right? This is not going to end well. Don't pretend that you can't see it. This is history repeating. And I hope it's not exactly the same thing. There was, in the United States, there was an order for only white people to have to wear masks. And then they rescinded it, and they're blaming a racist response for it. Masks exemption for people of color in the U.S. in U.S. county canceled after racist response. Those racists wrecked it for the people of color. What? Isn't saying that just white people should wear masks racist? Like, shouldn't it be about health and not race? This is divisive garbage. And again, why is CTV News focusing on the United States? What crazy world do people allow one of the principal news stations in the country to how much time do they spend on Canadian news? It's not nearly as much as they spend on Donald Trump and American police brutality. And the American police brutality is absolutely, they pick and choose which police brutality to back up their narrative that they want to push in Canada, right? Which has no basis in reality in Canada. There may be some pockets that have issues in the same vein, but that is by no means a systemic issue in Canada in the same way it is in the United States. And it's irresponsible of the news to behave the way it is. Just like this one. This is another post, national post, saying, why didn't Black Lives Matter protests spread COVID-19? Because everyone else stayed home, study suggests. No, it didn't spread COVID-19. I can't wait for I think I said this the other day. I can't wait for the ones where the Trump rallies are spreading COVID-19 and it's irresponsible and terrible and blah, blah, blah. Because they're going to do it because they don't care. They don't care. They choose their narrative and they just repeat it. And they'll send this tweet out again later on today. They sent out, there's that horrific crash in Brampton and I couldn't even read it. I was just so devastated for the gentleman. I couldn't even imagine what it would be like. And because, my goodness, right? Like, if you haven't read about it, don't read about it. But I couldn't even get through it. And it was like 4 o'clock in the morning and the City News had tweeted out, the funerals just started, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what in the world? Like, it's a really, really strange thing, the way these news organizations run their Twitter. It's to maximize clicks, right? And you're hoping that people aren't, you're hoping you're hitting different audiences, right? But, it is very interesting what they're blaming. And then, it's picking and choosing the narrative in the same way they're picking and choosing the narrative for the police stories, right? It's reporting one way on one thing and another way on another. Here's Justin Trudeau. We'll finish out on COVID-19 and because, whatever. Justin Trudeau says provinces failed to support seniors, Trudeau says, following the release of troubling new pandemic study. Yeah, it was the province's fault. It was totally the province's fault. Except Justin Trudeau didn't stop flights or do anything meaningful until well after every other country had, and people were demanding it. It is, again, this is divisive, and it doesn't help, it's Gail's fault. Gail, get out here and tell us where the systemic racism is in the RCMP, right? Oh, it's the Premier's fault. It's these guys who messed up the COVID response. Keep landing those planes, gentlemen. And no, we're not going to put any kind of medical screening in place. You have a good day. Contact tracing, we'll wait until middle of August to start that. You guys, it's your fault. Right? And oh, by the way, everybody, get your own app, right? Have your own app developed. Let's replicate this cost 12 times to 15 times. Great job. Wonderful, everybody. Could we spend more money stupidly, please? Oh, is there an investment bank somewhere that we can invest in to get nothing in return? Yeah, great. Wonderful. Lovely to hear it, right? And here's the last thing. Just in case you were wondering about COVID-19 and the death rate and all of that other stuff, it's fantasy. It is absolutely 100% fantasy. Here's the Toronto Public Health, and they say on June 24th, the question is, at Toronto Public Health, I'd like to understand why you were instructing the media to record any death as a COVID death, even if the death was caused by unrelated reasons according to doctors. And they respond thusly. Individuals who have died with COVID-19, but not as a result of COVID-19, are included in the case counts for COVID-19 deaths in Toronto. Our stats are false. They're faulty. They're made up. It's made up. Masks don't work. Premier's fault. Federal government's fault. It's the Premier's fault that the economy is destroyed, right? It's the Premier's fault that we've got restaurants and small businesses on life support, maybe. But they were operating on the information that the rest of the world was operating on. And we spent now a lot of money, hundreds of billions of dollars. We're on track for, who knows, $1 trillion deficit? I don't know if we're on track for that, but we're certainly on track for spending more than the yearly GDP, which is $320 million to respond to this crisis. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily irresponsible, but what is irresponsible is borrowing that money and sending it outside of the country. How does that make sense? We're looking at very real increases to taxes to pay for the cost of the spending that we're doing. We're looking at a credit rating downgrade. We're looking at very real consequences. And if we don't have the real numbers, how can we possibly make up a proper decision? How could Doug Ford properly make a decision if those numbers are so skewed, right? If you die in a car accident with COVID-19, well, right? Die of a heart attack with COVID-19, add it to the list. How can you make an accurate decision? How can you make a good decision? How can you guide your province? How could you lead effectively if you don't have good information? And this is not good information. And it's systemic. The whole, from municipal all the way up to the federal level. We're operating blind and hemorrhaging money. And the result is going to be more chaos and more disaster. And it's, what do you do? And how do you tell people? Because if you watch the news, well, look, Justin Trudeau, man. He's knocking them out. He's making the right moves, right? Manufactured. Just like bowling. Set them up, knock them down. Done. Everybody was in on it. Sure of it. The more I think about it, the more I'm sure of it. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful... check out CanadaPoly.com. Check out SpeakingMoistly.com. Kelly and I had a talk yesterday. I thought it was a pretty good talk. We kind of meandered a little bit, but I thought it was pretty fun. And check out CanadaReport.co. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. And it's the weekend almost, right? Friday, it's the weekend. Enjoy yourselves.